This is the 10 Minutes with Andrew podcast.
Welcome back to 10 Minutes with Andrew. I'm, of course, Andrew. I'm again joined by Mark Chansey, and happy Mother's Day. Welcome back to the show.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Yep.
And look where we are.
We're outside.
Outside on a beautiful Mother's Day morning.
Yep.
Sun is shining.
Nice.
Skies are blue.
Yep.
Driving range opens tomorrow.
It does.
I think I know where I'm going to spend my lunchtime.
Down there?
Oh, I think so. If the weather's okay.
I think it's supposed to rain, though.
Oh, figures.
Maybe.
Anyway, it's supposed to rain yesterday, too, but it really didn't.
It's supposed to go to 15 today.
I know. That's why we're outside.
Yeah.
Enjoying
blue sky.
The blue sky. So what are we doing today, my son?
Well, we're going to be talking Leafs.
Okay.
And then at the end, we're going to do an impromptu staying or going of 3 different Leafs.
Okay.
Based on what we're talking about today.
Okay.
But first, we should mention the Blue Jays won yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
14-1 over the Angels.
I wish Major League Baseball would get rid of having position players pitch.
Yeah.
They have a rule that if you're down by 8, you can bring in a position player.
Yeah.
Why can't you just forfeit at that point?
You should be able to.
It makes no sense at all.
None. It makes no sense.
I'm going to move my chair. I might knock everything over. Okay. All right, then. So
it's just, nothing to talk about with the game. It was just, they just kind of came alive in the 5th and the 7th, and then...
Nothing wrong with the Blue Jays. Nothing to see here, folks.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
And the Hurricanes swept the Flyers. They're going to the Eastern Conference
Flyers were pretenders.
And
knew that when they got in.
However, Colorado is no longer undefeated. They lost last night.
Minnesota's not going to roll over.
No.
They're not the Flyers.
They got a pretty good team.
So Carolina hasn't lost a game yet.
No.
Yeah.
They're going to face either Montreal or Buffalo.
8 more and they win the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But we know the Hurricanes' history with the third round. They always seem to choke in the third round.
Well, we'll see. They got Freddie.
They do have Freddie.
Freddie seems to not do well in the third round. So you got to play some clips or something. What are we doing?
Well, we're going to, first of all, Leafs won the draft lottery.
I know. What a shock.
They jumped from 5 to 1.
Like I told you, it's probably the biggest and only big sports Toronto moment you're going to get to see.
For right now,
You've watched the Leafs get bounced out of the playoffs. You watched the Blue Jays lose the World Series. But you saw the Leafs win the draft lottery, and nobody expected that.
They won the draft lottery 10 years apart.
Pity the Boston Bruins.
First overall pick. Well, they're going to get an unprotected pick in a couple of years, so they're fine.
Okay.
We got first. San Jose jumped from 9th to 2nd, so they also jumped. Vancouver went 3rd, so poor Vancouver. That bad of a season, you only get 3rd.
Yeah.
And
everybody's crapping all over Chayka, and the next day he gets us the number 1 pick in the draft.
Second day on the job.
Right?
Yeah.
So I must be doing something right.
And they got the first overall pick. They got some time to think about who it's going to be. Most likely going to be Gavin McKenna, but we'll see.
We'll see.
And so they got that, but
maybe they can trade it to Vegas for Mitch Marner.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
The one game he had that was good, yeah. So that was the second day on the job.
Yeah.
The first day on the job wasn't as good as that because
it was the third day on the job. Draft was Wednesday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he got hired.
Monday was
press conference?
Monday was the disaster press.
No, I thought the draft was Tuesday.
The draft? I thought it was Wednesday night.
I thought it was lottery. Anyway, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
I'm pretty sure it was second day on the job.
Always want to fight with me.
I'm pretty sure it was second day on the job. So the first day on the job, as I'm sure you were aware, didn't go particularly well for Mr. John Chayka and Mr. Matt Sundin.
I thought it went well for them. They did well.
For them, I think it did. For Keith Pelly.
No, that was a disaster for Pelly. He should never speak again publicly.
Now, the clips we have, I don't have anything from Matt Sundin because I listened to the clips I could find from him, and I didn't hear anything particularly interesting. And he didn't really say a whole lot the whole press conference. So I didn't take a whole lot. He just kind of said he's excited to be here, and him and John kind of have the same vision for things. And he knows how the market works and great fan base because he was here for 13 years and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to start with John Chayka, the new GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs, his opening statement to the media in his press conference.
Okay, so I hit this one.
Hey, my name is Andrew. This is going to be my podcast. It's going to be about sports.
What just happened?
I dug that one up. That was your first ever podcast on January the 22nd, 2022, which is what, 4+ years ago? And let me just listen to the voice.
Hey, my name is Andrew. This is gonna be my podcast. It's gonna be about sports.
Was someone squeezing your testicles or something? Or, wow. Anyway, any comments?
It's weird, man. I don't know.
Your voice has changed, hey?
That's weird, man.
Which one was it?
So this is John Chayka, the new GM of the Toronto
Chayka
Maple Leafs. Yeah, his opening statement to the media.
Okay.
I'm not here to romanticize this opportunity. I'm here to build something that delivers. There's no avoiding the realities of the challenges ahead. This is one of the most coveted roles in sports and also one of the most demanding.
Coveted.
You don't meet a challenge like this by chasing moments. You meet it by building an organization that consistently creates them. Great teams beat talented teams, but great organizations beat great teams.
I don't like that he read
That's
it.
the standard we must meet at every level of the organization. Yeah. I'm a realist, so I want to address an element of my past up front. I understand there'll be lots of questions about my past, about my time away from the game, and about my time in Arizona. That experience shaped me. It required discipline, creativity, and resilience. I've made decisions I'm proud of, and I've also made mistakes that I've learned from.
Like all of us.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So every time I hit stop, it goes to the wrong spot.
I've made decisions I'm proud of.
Me too.
And I've also made mistakes that I've learned from. I'm human. I own all of it, and I'm better because of it.
So that's how he brushes
I would
it
also
all
say
away.
this. The game has evolved since I left the Coyotes.
Because of it.
I view that as shift as a positive. I didn't live off the grid. I stayed obsessed with the game, our league, the role of process, of data, of integrated decision making. These are no longer emerging ideas. They're essential to how elite NHL organizations operate.
Just what Pelly
that
wants to
alignment
hear.
between where the game stands
right?
today and how I believe in building teams, that's part of what makes this opportunity so incredibly compelling. I also understand another reality. Nothing I say here today earns credibility in this market. That will come from how we operate, the decisions we make, the consistency of our approach, and ultimately the results we achieve on the ice.
I wonder if Pelly's people wrote that for him.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because here's the funny thing. Chayka and Pelly both had pre-written statements. Matt Sundin spoke from the heart, or at least we think, because he didn't have anything.
You shouldn't be up there in that role with a prepared statement.
No.
Right?
He spoke to PR beforehand, and they gave him a statement to read. And
yeah. So.
And John Chayka kind of, I mean, there's a lot of questions around John Chayka. Let's not, I mean, if we're being fair here.
Yep.
He had the whole controversy with Arizona 2 times. He had the whole thing with Arizona.
It's very distracting when you're outside.
Yeah. He's been out of the league for, 6 years. And again, he was younger when that stuff happened, but he also wasn't 26 the whole time. So
I just laugh at the fact he was suspended by the league.
Yeah, for a year.
I can tell you if my employer suspended me and then I went to another employer, I would not get hired. When they do the reference check and they say, we had to suspend him. Oh, okay. They're not phoning me to say, yeah, we'd like to hire you.
And some people are being a little pessimistic about John Chayka, and I understand why. I'm going to be optimistic until I have a reason not to be. I think.
Oh, you're learning.
I think.
Good for you.
Him and Matt Sundin, and again, Matt Sundin, just kind of like Brendan Shanahan, no experience in a front office role, former player, but I do think that he has some ideas about how to build a good team, and I think he's going to use those ideas, and I think they might work.
Or they might not.
And they might not. I don't know. This could just be another Dubas Shanahan thing, just with two different guys.
I don't have a problem with Chayka. Like I said, see what he does. Can't be any worse than what we've had. And I don't really care one way or the other about Sundin. I do. It's interesting that he has his legacy at risk. To me, it is anyway, because he is beloved.
Yeah, but again, he's not really.
He is beloved in that market.
He's not the one making the final call to Pelly. That's Chayka. Just Sundin is.
I know. But if it all goes south, he's going to be tarnished by it too, right?
Yeah.
The issue I have is Pelly.
Oh, Pelly's terrible.
He's the trouble.
In my view. Blue rim glasses and all.
In my view.
But. Second clip now we're going to play in a minute. This was the most interesting part of the press conference.
Oh, yeah.
This is where things kind of went a little crazy. So Steve Simmons of the Toronto Sun, who we've talked about before,
never afraid of asking
asking a tough question, always expresses his opinion, has a lot of heat with a lot of players in the league, and it's, again, not many like him. And he's always one to express how he feels about the Leafs and the Blue Jays. And so Steve Simmons went up there and asked a question for Keith Pelly, and the clip I found, it kind of cuts Keith Pelly off a little quickly, but you basically get the whole answer. So just listen to Steve Simmons' question.
Steve Simmons, Toronto Sun, for Keith. You talk about the due diligence that you did on John prior to hiring him and now hiring him.
This is rough.
In the past, say, 3 to 4 days, I have been in contact with about 20 people who work in the National Hockey League, many of whom are prominent names that we would all know. And of the 20 people I spoke to, one was supportive of John's hiring, and the other 19 thought it was a sham, to be perfectly honest. Words were used like con artist, liar, salesman. How did you come to a different conclusion that I was able to come to in a very short time?
I must have talked to different people.
Jeez, that's it?
That's it? Because I'm telling you, the hockey world today is astounded by this announcement.
Okay.
And your response to that?
Is we've conducted due diligence, and it was deep due diligence. It was a thorough process, and I'm quite happy with where we've landed.
So, made it interesting. The only thing that bothered me about that after the fact was to hear that Chayka, what are we calling him? Wall or
Chayka.
Wall or wall?
Chayka. Yeah.
To hear that Chayka's wife and kids
were right there in the front row. Yeah.
That I didn't like. But, Simmons has to ask the questions.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I didn't like about that. I thought he handled it well. It must be hard to sit in that seat and have that stuff said about you. I don't think Pelly handled it well.
No.
He got very defensive from then on, and what a disaster of a press conference.
Yeah.
But luckily they won the draft lottery, and everything's good again.
Everything's okay for now.
Yeah.
But again, everything's okay for Chayka and Sundin. Pelly is still not liked, and I think that's the problem here.
If Chayka and Sundin are successful, they're going to think Pelly was a genius. Right? Yeah. So it was interesting.
So obviously Keith Pelly has a number of bad press conferences under his belt. He's
worse than Atkins.
Yeah.
He's getting that
it's tough.
That moniker.
But
worse than Atkins.
It's funny because, I was listening to Steve Dangle's podcast, and he made a good point about, him and his co-host made a good point about the fact that when you're Keith Pelly, you can't get defensive like that, because if you're going to throw around quotes like, we're not just here to sell jerseys, and, I know the pressure and the fan base and the market, you have to expect that the media is going to show up and they're going to ask tough questions. And the fact that you're going to get defensive about it doesn't help anything. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make things better in any way.
No.
So for Keith Pelly to get defensive, you should have known going in this is going to be a controversial hire, because this guy hasn't been in the league in 6 years. And when he was in the league, it wasn't like he was, particularly squeaky clean with his resume.
I hope the board wasn't watching that. They must have questioned their decision to put Pelly in there. I didn't know if he was going to make it to the end.
Yeah, the MLSE board, I don't know what they might be.
I thought he was going to get up and quit. Before I get fired, I quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the final clip we have for you today this was not at the press conference. I think it was either before or after. I think it was before. Elliot Friedman did a one-on-one interview with John Chayka, and it was in the Leafs dressing room. And there's been a lot of talk about, after an article that Chris Johnston put out about Austin Matthews and his future in Toronto. And we're going to get to that after the clip as well a little bit. And Austin Matthews, basically, this is pre-draft lottery this article was written, and the idea behind it was Austin Matthews is not sure about his future in Toronto. He wants to see them, basically the gist of it is he wants to see the Leafs make meaningful moves and meaningful improvements, and he doesn't want to be just sold on some 12-point perfect plan. He wants to see them make meaningful changes to the team that's going to help the defense and help the structure.
Well, if I'm Chayka, I'm not sold on Matthews being in Toronto.
So Elliot Friedman asked...
He's an asset.
Elliot Friedman asked John Chayka, and this was John Chayka's response basically to convincing Austin Matthews to stay in Toronto.
What do we want to convince him to? Couldn't we ship him off to San Jose, get the second overall pick too, and maybe a couple other players? He did start following Celebrini, and Celebrini did start following him.
Yeah.
Right? So here's the clip, yours.
Yeah.
Chayka talking about convincing Matthews? Is that what it is? Oh, okay.
Hey, my name is Andrew. This is going to be my podcast.
I can't resist. Sorry. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm doing it on purpose.
I heard in a lot of the interviews, it was very clear that people felt, who were interviewing for the job, that if they're going to be successful here, Austin Matthews must be convinced to stay. And I think the organization wants that too, correct?
Correct.
How do you convince him that you can go on the right path here?
Yeah, I think Austin's ultimate goal is the same as ours. And, it's both Matt's and our job to, meet with him and understand his perspective. And then we're going to, share our vision as well. Matt's and I have a lot of ideas on things. On my side, a lot of thoughts around roster construction, team building, and, not just for, one day or one move or one season. Like, we want to show him a long-term vision that can get him excited.
I don't know. I'm not an Austin Matthews guy anymore. Like the 60-goal season and chasing 7, that was fun. That was regular season crap. He's done nothing when it matters. He won a gold medal for the U.S. team. He did nothing on that team as the captain.
As the captain, yeah.
I don't think we need to protect him that much. I'd be more interested to know what other teams are willing to give us for him.
Well, here's the issue I also think we have. I think part of the reason, there's a couple of reasons. I think part of the reason why Austin Matthews has been so bad these last couple of years is because he's fighting an injury that's been lingering for a number of years.
Maybe.
But I also think part of the reason, and again, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think part of the reason is this guy just does not like to play for Craig Berube. And I think that's kind of evident in the fact.
He played for Keefe.
Yeah, but it's kind of evident in the fact that the last 2 years have been his 2 worst statistical years of his career.
He's better
and
defensively.
It's been under Craig Berube. But that's the problem. They're trying to get him to play defensively, and he's supposed to be an elite goal scorer, and he's not doing that anymore because they're trying to play him more defensively, which is not what you're supposed to do with Austin Matthews. So I think if Austin Matthews, because they're meeting with Berube as well, if Austin Matthews really wants to stay here, I think one of the things Austin Matthews is going to want is a new coach. And I don't know if the Leafs are willing to do that. And again, I think the Leafs would be smart to tell him that we've kind of seen. I think if Matt Sundin particularly is going to that meeting, he's going to go in there and he's going to say, you've been here for 10 plus years
and done nothing. Other than score goals in the regular season.
You've done nothing. You've gotten us to a second round twice, and both times ended in disaster. And because it shouldn't be like lost on people. The Leafs culture is terrible right now. And I think Matt Sundin's going to help with that too, in the sense that, people were jumping all over the team for not defending Matthews after he got hit. But as you pointed out, and other people pointed out as well, it's not like if Nylander got hit, Matthews would be doing the same thing. So you need to bring players in who are going to stick up for each other, and you need to bring people in who aren't going to, basically just care enough to get them the trophies and not get them the Stanley Cup. Just get them the hardware.
If I'm Chayka, I say, Austin, are you interested in playing somewhere else? And if so, where would that be? Then I would phone those organizations and say, are you interested, and what will you offer me? And if the offer is good, thank you, Austin, for your service. Let's move on to the next.
Because I was going to say.
Because it's been a disaster, and he is not a win-at-all-costs kind of player.
Speaking of Chris Johnson and Elliot Friedman as well, I was going to say, I did read the other day a report that even after the draft lottery and after they get the first overall pick, Matthews, this hasn't changed much for Matthews. It might change a little bit, but not much. He still is unsure. He still has to meet with them. And again, I don't think the Leafs would be smart to keep him around. I just don't think, I think, how much more evidence do you need than what you've gotten these last number of years? And that was the biggest issue with Shanahan.
That's right.
Was, he wouldn't let go of the fact that
committed to the core.
These players aren't the right players.
Yep.
And, to a large extent, and again, last year was kind of an exception, to a large extent it was the same issue with Ross Atkins, where Ross Atkins kind of was Vladdy and Bo forever. And Bo, of course, left. And, now you're stuck with Vladdy, and he's not, even yesterday in that game, he had a few hits, but nothing major. But I just think you have to not do the Shanahan thing, where it's like, we're committed to this team and this core.
That's what WestJet did when they arrived on the scene. They said, what does Air Canada do? We're going to do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Right? That's how they guaranteed success. So that's what you got to do. Whatever Shanahan and everyone before him did, we're going to do the exact opposite. And they failed, so that must mean we'll succeed.
Yeah.
Right. So on to the next part. 20 minutes in.
We have a impromptu, just going to be quick, staying or going.
No.
Okay?
Yeah. This, what I hope or what I think? Okay, I'll tell both.
Okay.
Yeah. First one, Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
Hope he's going, think he's staying for 2 years.
Oh, I thought you meant hope or what you think like the game, like the players are going to be.
No, hope he's going, think he's staying for... Well, no, he's going.
I was going to say going too.
Yeah, he's going.
Yeah.
At some point. Hopefully before his contract is up so they get something for him.
Yeah, you can't do the Marner thing.
And they don't get... Although he'd probably try to screw him out on the way out the door.
You probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think he's going?
Yeah.
Number 2.
Nylander.
I think he's staying.
I think so.
Yeah. I think he likes the Toronto life.
Although he's not really a Berube player.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting relationship. I think they have great respect for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we still don't know if Berube's staying here. We don't know.
We have no idea. So is that your third one?
No.
Berube?
I didn't think about Berube.
Okay.
My third one is Morgan Riley.
Don't matter.
I think he's going. Personally, I think you cannot keep him after the
Not
season.
for the money he's getting. And how many years do you have left?
Oh, like 4, 5.
You're gonna take a haircut on that though. You're still gonna be paying a bunch of salary, I think.
Yeah, well, you see, yeah.
Yeah, no, I could care either way. Not an impact player anymore, or hasn't been. And,
I think with the way he's been playing last couple of years, he's got to go.
Yeah,
He's got to try and get rid of him.
Not an impact player. So I won't make you talk about your weight because you weren't.
It wasn't
great,
like it was
were you?
terrible, but
No, you were up what 0.8?
Yeah.
Okay, I was down 2 pounds. So let's get back at it, hey?
Right.
Although you're going out for steak tonight, so
maybe steak if I order steak.
anything else you want to say over there?
No.
It's pretty cool doing this outside.
Yeah.
Very distracting.
A little bit, yeah.
All right. Well, shut down the first show outdoors.
So thank you for listening and watching this episode of 10 Minutes with Andrew. Find us on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment. We'll be back next week with the next episode. Happy Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm. See you then.
See you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons and turn on notifications to be notified when we upload new content. You can also connect with us at andrewchansey.com.